are introducing the next phase of our program. The next phase of our program is really to highlight the critical role that regions have played in the symposium. I am so delighted to welcome somebody who's really respected in South Africa, is an urgent voice in the field of gender equality and pushing back against violence against women. And we are being joined right now by MenEngage Alliance Global Co-Chairs. Bafana Khumalo is the Co-Executive Director of the Sonke Gender Justice in South Africa. And alongside him will be Umberto Carollo, Executive Director, White Ribbon Canada. And as I said, they are just coming to share with us their takeaways and introduce a video that they worked on with the regions as a way for them to collectively share the insights from the journey we have been on in the past couple of months. And I think I must just share that Bafana has a long and accomplished track record in the NGO sector in South Africa, working on HIV prevention, gender equality and masculinities, and has actually served as a commissioner at the National Commission for Gender Equality. And of course, Umberto as well is the Executive Director at White Ribbon Canada. He is a gender-based violence prevention specialist with 20 years expertise in gender equality, human rights, HIV/AIDS, LGBTQ2+ advocacy, and community development. So these are the kinds of people who influence our direction here at MenEngage. I hand it over to you, Bafana and Umberto, and we look forward to that video. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Redi. I just noticed I was still muted. Thank you for your warm words. I just congratulated the awesome band that just played for us. They are formidable. This is the spirit of Ubuntu. Why are we here? Well, we are here to thank our hosts, the Rwandan government, our MenEngage partner locally, and MenEngage Africa, who welcomed us 7 months ago in this formidable experience of the symposium, the third MenEngage Symposium. We obviously thank the Rwandan government, particularly the Minister of Gender, who, when we were in Rwanda, I think Umberto will remember, when we went to visit her to just try and lobby her to support this idea, she did not ask, why are you troubling me? She asked, what do you need? What support do you need from us? So we want to say thank you very much to the government of Rwanda, the minister particularly, and please give our thanks to your cabinet colleagues for all the support that you have given to us through these 7 months. Over the past 7 months, we have come together to take stock of the work that is being done by the MenEngage Alliance and to assess what is needed going forward. Because much as we celebrate the landmarks that we have achieved, I was just saying that we went from 3 days, of course, to 7 months, which has been an awesome journey. I don't think we bargained for this in terms of the vibrant conversations that have happened globally with 5,000 registered participants from 159 countries, over 600 speakers, 178 global sessions, plus many more at regional, at country, and at local levels. I don't think we've had so much engagement at MenEngage Alliance at every level of our existence. And it has been an enormous journey. Tom? Of course, the current context that confronted us is the challenge of COVID, which we all are aware, which is why we are not in Kigali and feeling all the energy that is in Kigali at the moment. The coronavirus pandemic has exposed the fault lines of today's capitalist patriarchal structure and brought into focus the well-known social, gender, and racial inequalities and health disparities of most nations, including the so-called development world. I cannot overemphasize that more, as we in the South are facing almost certain death whilst we are not able to access vaccines, when many in the North are hoarding vaccines because they have the means. As the world struggles to respond and adapt to COVID-19, the global feminist movement reflects on and articulates what must be the change moving forward, because indeed there must be the change. What COVID has done is expose some of the contradictions that we find in the current world. It cannot be business as usual. The Symposium 2 addressed the intersection of patriarchy and our fragile health systems, exclusive and undemocratic governance model, and impoverished communities. Recognition of how challenging this has been and it continues to be, we take a moment to recognize the lives lost and affected by COVID-19. People have been tuning into the symposium in the midst of in the midst of all this pandemic, which is unfolding in our eyes, often under very challenging circumstances. But we are grateful that many people were able to join and participate and lead this vibrant conversation. So what have we sought to do in the past 7 months? The symposium sought to advance the political agenda by affirming the need for greater alignment and building a common cause with social justice movements globally and nationally who are seeking to achieve a full social justice agenda. The symposium has thus represented a significant opportunity to build on our own values and advance in our resolve to walk the talk. It provides space to share experiences, evidence, and insights on how to effectively challenge and dismantle oppressive patriarchal norms and constructions of masculinities. It provided us an opportunity as well to take stock of how this work has evolved in the past few years, to identify new goals and frontiers and strategies, and create a forum to re-articulate a political agenda that seeks to transform unjust and deeply embedded power structures. By aligning ourselves with and adding value to the work of women's rights and social justice movements, we hope we have contributed to building a better world, and one we share with all people in solidarity. Over to you, Umberto.
Thank you so much, Bafana, for those wise words. And I must tell you, my heart is still beating at the rhythm of those drums. It was beautiful. And once again, congratulations and our sincere gratitude to our partners, our wonderful partners in Rwanda, for being such great hosts and providing us with such an amazing anchor to share this tremendous event with you. Ubuntu, through all of its events, provided key spaces for all of us as an alliance, for members and partners to come together to help strengthen our collective efforts in support of the diverse feminist women's rights movements. As you may recall, the objectives of our symposium have been to help men and masculinities work become even more effective and impactful for gender justice through our collective sharing, questioning, learning, and knowledge strengthening. It was meant to help strengthen our global community to act responsibly, purposely, inclusively, and in solidarity with our partners, friends, and each other across diverse social justice movements. And it was meant to inspire, develop, and renew a common political agenda and strategy to meet the urgency of today's existing and emerging challenges. The evolution of MenEngage's political agenda, together with our consultative process, led to the symposium's various themes, which include power with transformation, accountability, intersectionality, feminisms, all really amazing topics that we spent so much time together talking about, dialoguing, exchanging, challenging, and learning together. We have evolved in the way that we understand the role of men and masculinities within the broader gender and social justice work. To help us in that journey, we have developed a political framework of cross-cutting themes Those are not final definitions, but rather they provide a starting point to guide us in how we reflect, share, learn, explore, critically examine, and advance together as an alliance. They therefore form our political framework for the Ubuntu Symposium, and what a tremendous framework that is. So many people have come together to develop the overall framework for Ubuntu. This was developed through collaborative work over the period of 2 years through many conversations and processes at the country, regional, and global levels. 130 people have been involved as committee members and many more in other ways, including within MenEngage regional networks. We express our sincere gratitude to all of you who were here, who were with us in this journey. You've been fantastic to work with, and I can attest to it because we did this together. It wouldn't be possible to organize and deliver this amazing event without all of you. Our function as the MenEngage Alliance is guided, and the core binding principles, binding elements of the Alliance that brings out all of our members from country, regional, and global networks are our principles and values. These also inform the overall program and organizing of the Ubuntu Symposium. Some of those core principles include a bottom-up approach, expanding diversity and inclusivity, re-energize networks, representative participation, transparency in our processes and communication on all fronts, accountability that is mutual and horizontal, co-creation, collective ownership, meaningful involvement, and leadership. It was during one of our planning sessions in Rwanda that Alistair Collins, one of our members from Guyana in the Caribbean region, sparked the idea that this symposium should take on the philosophy of Ubuntu at its core, as its core theme. This was appreciated and accepted by everyone in the room, and it was then agreed by all to name this third symposium the Ubuntu Symposium. It is only fitting that Africa anchors our symposium, where the concept of Ubuntu was born, where it is so real and alive. I am because you are. We must never forget that principle in the work we do to keep alive our connection as human beings and our common goal of working towards the transformation of power and the promotion of equity, belonging, safety, and inclusion for all. We will now hear from colleagues across the world about their experiences and key reflections on the Ubuntu Symposium from the point of view of the organizers and the regional and country levels. I hope you enjoy this video.
For us to organize a global symposium that is virtual.
Mobilizing for the current global symposium has been a very unusual one, precisely because of the COVID crisis.
There was the idea that there would be a 4, maybe 5 days in Rwanda, and it's obviously taken on a very different look and feel with an 8-month process that is now online. So we've all had to just grow and learn and be challenged and then grow from that.
Et ce symposium, normalement, devait être en présentiel, où toutes les organisations, genre où se trouve MenEngage, devaient être représentées pour que le symposium puisse dérouler. Mais en raison de la pandémie de la COVID-19, les organisateurs ont jugé bon d'organiser ce symposium virtuellement pour permettre à plus de monde justement de pouvoir participer, chose que au niveau national, au niveau Togo, on a trouvé très louable parce que ça a permis à plusieurs personnes, outre les membres du réseau MenEngage Togo, également de suivre le symposium virtuellement et en direct.
And I don't think in our wildest dreams as a part of the planning group that we expected that we would have had such a wonderful showing and such a great play of the of having this on a virtual setting.
After a while, there was a sort of webinar fatigue. I think we have experienced it, all of us.
Una limitación es que al ser virtual, pues pueden participar solamente los sectores que tienen facilidad para conectarse a Internet. Pero bueno, son mucho más que si el simposio hubiera sido tradicional.
Vivir el simposio Ubuntu 2020-2021 a la par de cómo vivíamos y resistíamos la pandemia global provocada por el virus del COVID-19 nos ha representado enormes retos, desafíos y procesos de resistencia a lo largo de la región latinoamericana.
One of the biggest challenges we face is use of technology. Many of us were not familiar with technology use, and we couldn't attend all online sessions where it was interesting. But we also learned from that challenges. Now we are making a difference.
Fue un gran desafío, fue también una oportunidad, fue la posibilidad de encontrar referentes de toda Latinoamérica también, de España, y de interactuar con referentes de todo el mundo, de África, de Asia, de Europa. O sea, increíble.
It was during one of our planning sessions in Rwanda that Alistair Collins, one of our members from Guyana in the Caribbean region, sparked the idea that this symposium should take on the philosophy of Ubuntu at its core, as its core theme. This was appreciated and accepted by everyone in the room, and it was then agreed by all to name this third symposium the Ubuntu Symposium.
Ubuntu simply means I am because we are. What empowers me empowers you. What diminishes me diminishes you. And being part of MenEngage, I know they stand for values such as human rights, respect, human dignity, compassion, solidarity, consensus. And I know the concept of Ubuntu also represents and encompasses those similar values. So to me, it was a perfect fit.
When I saw the theme, I was like, wow, this is really powerful. I wonder how each person involved with the Global MenEngage understand and how they're going to use that, in the work that we're doing. For me, I am because you are or because we are, makes me think in terms of the themes that we chose in North America, which was intersectionality and decolonization.
If you just turn around, I am because you are, I am because you're not, or I'm not because you are, anything that you turn it around describes the world of today. And to me, Ubuntu in that sense is an absolute inspiration.
I think that was the initial meeting where we actually had a kind of a framework of how we want to structure the symposium. And the initial thematic areas that we wanted to bring to the symposium on intersectionality, transformation, feminism.
Hemos creado un llamado a la acción compuesto por 25 ítems, de los cuales destaco la importancia de que los varones podamos potenciar nuestra autonomía emocional, sexual y doméstica para así lograr una igualdad de género sostenida en el tiempo.
As a country, we have been able to build coalitions that will help us in conducting researches to fight against teenage pregnancy and GBV and other important issues that are affecting the population in terms of SRHR.
Because the symposium provided a space for us to be able to start the conversations around advocacy on a whole different level, making, keeping intersectionality at the forefront, making sure it's feminist informed.
In terms of representation, in terms of responding to diversity, that's not a big challenge. But how do we include those people?
At regional level, we did a lot of preparation for the symposium. That was interesting. We have communicated with all members and our youth platform supported by the network so that everyone can participate and feel encouraged that yes, this is a symposium of MenEngage Alliance. Let's join there.
demonstrations of what MenEngage can be, that we can be from right across the globe, from utterly different cultures, from very, very different perspectives. And I just love that. We've crossed cultures and languages and feminisms, activisms, radicalisms, all of those, all mixed in together.
So every session was a new arena to work for gender equality. So I want to mention about the men, masculinity and climate crisis session, because it's a eye-opener session for me. Through Ubuntu, I realized that the capitalism, colonialism and destructive masculinity is harm to women and harm to the mother planet.
I really think that the Ubuntu brought us all together in a sense that I did not imagine before. I think I really have a real sense of a global mission, of a global commitment, of a global vision of changing the world to the better by engaging boys and men in their fight for gender equality and violence prevention. So this was really very beautiful for me to experience.
So I think this symposium taught us that there's a lot more to learn through the process. And the other thing is that the whole symposium had been very reflective. I think it was kind of for the whole network. It was a critical reflection for the network, where we actually looked at our own behaviors, our own ways of managing things, our own ways of governing things, our own ways of practicing things. So all these reflective things brought a lot of learnings for, I think, for most of the regions and as well as for South Asia.
It means that so many things can get done when we actually go online, and as long as we work with the people earlier. So that led to us starting virtual forums for chairpersons of country networks, virtual forums for coordinators of country networks, virtual forums for advocacy, resource mobilization, because the Ubuntu Symposium has shown us that people actually can do this when they own it.
And I think it's really important because the symposium, while it felt as though we weren't tapping into these core groups, particularly at a grassroots level, but at the same time, we were able to, a plus for us, target a much wider representation in the Caribbean.
Going into the future, we have the responsibility that, once we have now recognized, we have mobilized all these understanding, knowledge and resources, so that you kind of, utilized it in a proper way and make sure that the Alliance is use it for the movement building process in the future.
Moving forward, when the world is over COVID and we're able to connect again, it's important when we're planning that we have these hybrid models.
I believe the big challenge of the Ubuntu Symposium has yet to come. Rather, I believe it is already here, because now that we have acquired knowledge, now that we have combined efforts and understand what the problem is, it is upon us to act, and that is our challenge.
We can keep this momentum, we can keep this passion, to initiate some dialogues through online platforms, not only for this conference, so in future also. So
one of the highlights of the Ubuntu Symposium was finally being able to connect with a number of members from all around the world.
It was really nice to meet people who were doing a lot of batters intervention work and engaging men's work, such as I was, and to connect with people who I've never met before.
The MenEngage Ubuntu Symposium opened our mind to practice something new and innovative way of mobilizing people.
We had a lot of learning to do. As Africa, we had to plan. We had to plan way ahead of time.
I feel really inspired and connected by the symposium, and I am really, really optimistic about what comes next.
At the country and regional levels, we hope to continue building on the Ubuntu Symposium by working on the inner space. And therefore, to continue this work that we have started, I hope, and together with my country people as well as the continental level, that we move forward with our hearts and minds that lead with peace.
And I feel truly grateful to be a part of the planning process and to have been a part of such a wonderful engagement. Thanks again to all of the regions, all of the countries, and all of the global voices and leaders that allowed us to come to this point. Thank you all so much, and I look forward to much more going forward.
Wow, that was fantastic. So inspiring. Thank you everyone that contributed to this video, and thank you everyone indeed for your joint collaboration and your contributions over the past 7 months. I had the opportunity to be part of the planning process, of being part of the great dialogues and exchanges, and I had a chance to meet so many of you around the world. I'm truly in awe of what we accomplished together. I leave with a full heart and a hungry mind for more learning and exchanging. I join in your collective calls for change, in our collective calls for change, for transformation, intersectionality, decolonizing, and so much more. I commit to continue advocating for the most disadvantaged and marginalized in the hopes that one day we can all live with safety, inclusion, and freedom. Freedom from violence, inequality, discrimination, exclusion, persecution, and patriarchy. Thank you, everyone. It has truly been an honor and a pleasure. How about you, Bafana? What are your thoughts after watching this amazing video?
Thank you very much, Umberto. I share a lot of your sentiments. There's been many exciting experiences of the symposium, very vibrant conversations that we have had over this period. But I want us to thank the warm spirit of the people of Rwanda, who, despite the challenges that confronted them when they had to host physically this symposium, did not feel despondent when COVID happened on us. They continued to work vigorously and put on a very excellent show in being a very excellent hosts for the Alliance. And so I want to thank them very much. But I think we also need to thank Redi, who has been with us right from the beginning. She has stayed the course and has worked with the team excellently and has never been, too demanding, as they say, has been very supportive of this work. So we thank you very much, Redi, and we continue to hope for more continued engagement with you going forward. I do think also, Umberto, that we need to thank our global staff. I think they did an excellent job. Bianca, Yoni, Laxman, Tom, Sinead, the whole crew, you've really made us proud. I think we will all look back to this experience that despite the fact that we were meeting virtually, we had all the hiccups of connectivities, of troubles with load shedding in our different parts of the world, but we were kept in the spirit of the symposium. As we got the videos, we could follow the conversations, we got the emails that continued to keep us going. We continued to get invited to these many sessions that were being hosted by our partners in all the continents. We also need to thank our sponsors, CEDA, the many UN agencies that have walked this journey with us. We really thank you very much. Ford came to the party and committed to support this work. We're looking forward to even taking this work to the next level. At the risk of not being exclusive, I think I should just say thank you to all those who supported this initiative. But also thank you to the MenEngage partners themselves, the networks, the organizations that have been part of this conversation. There's been a lot that we've been able to harvest during this period. And I'm sure it's going to continue to percolate as we go forward, taking this work to the next level. Our interest is to see a better world. And we believe that a better world is possible. As we are going to be engaging in the generation equality processes, we are committed as MenEngage to make our own commitments in advancing that cause, because we think the world cannot afford to have women being left behind, either in terms of pay, equal pay for equal work, or in terms of care work. We're committed to continue to mobilize and push men to take responsibility in ensuring that we share in the care work and provide the necessary support to our partners, to our children in the home space, so that what we say we believe in the public space is also what we do in our own homes. Change must start with us, and we believe that change has begun. It just needs to grow, as we say in South Africa, make the circle bigger so that it influences everyone in the world. Thank you very much for being part of this awesome journey. Thank you. Asante sana.
Thank you, Bafana. And Reddy, over to you.
Thanks so much. Really, really moved by your words, Bafana and Umpeto. But also, I think what is important is that seeing the impact of the work that is being done is important. It matters, it is meaningful, and it's making a difference. And from the video, Umpeto and Bafana, I got a sense that a lot of the interlocutors, the speakers, were seeing this space as a really, in the symposium, the getting together, as a reflective space, as a space where they can truly reflect about not just society, but about their work and how it responds to the demands of the time. I got a sense that the speakers were appreciative of being a part of a community. And that's how I feel as well, as I sit here as the moderator, that being part of a community is really, really empowering. That even as we live in dynamic and different societies, there's a universality to the work that we're doing because the problem is universal. And learning best practice, sharing ideas, sharing expertise, sharing words of wisdom, sharing case studies that can be emulated or scaled up in our various realities and unique communities. That was what stood out for me. So thank you very much. Congratulations for all that you've achieved, and everybody else, wherever you are in the world, for being a part of this journey. Thanks indeed. Okay, so I did promise you that we are going to have some participatory engagement, that we want to give you as the audience, as participants, to share your reflections, what you have learned over the last 7 months, how we can bring it all together, scale it up. And this moment is important because throughout all our panel discussions and our participatory engagements, we are going to end with a call to action, right? I told you a little bit about the Ubuntu Declaration and Call to Action, which really aims to build upon the visions laid out at the second MenEngage Global Symposium in Delhi in 2014 and the first MenEngage Global Symposium in Rio in 2009. Each respective declaration articulated our evolving and collective politics. So we're bringing it all together with our call to action and our declaration that will form part of the last segment of our closing ceremony today. So in this way, your views, your wisdom, your experiences, your knowledge matters. We value it. And so I will go through the tech requirements. Here, I need your generosity. The organizers know that I'm such a technophobe. They just give me the right words to use, but the actual execution of the tech space, that's all on you. So listen carefully. We will start with the Mentimeter and we will see your answers on the screen, right? So I am going to read out a question to which you will then reflect and then answer. So let me just tell you how it works before I even get to my question. I know that the question is on screen already, but that's not where we are yet. You just go to www.menti.com and use the code 2574227. www.menti.com and use the code 2574227. And so my first question then to you is, what one word would you use to describe your overall experience of the Ubuntu Symposium? What one word? It shouldn't take you long. What one word would you use to describe your overall experience of the Ubuntu Symposium? The answers will appear on screen, and I will read them as the cloud is populated. Okay, I hope I've done this right. What one word would you use to describe your overall experience of the Ubuntu Symposium? Let me see if I can access some of your answers there. Wow, they're all coming in. Inspired, that was my word, inspirational. Accountability, togetherness, rejuvenating. Oh, how is this for a powerful word? I saw a word called deconstruction. I saw a word deconstruction because this is so pivotal. There's a lot that we need to unlearn even as we learn. But part of unlearning and learning is to deconstruct concepts and case studies and what we have regarded for many years as normative practices and disrupt and challenge those. I really love that. Transformative, diverse, the word diversity, overused without meaning in some instances, but I think that MenEngage is the perfect case study for diversity. The number of accents in the room, in our virtual room, the gender diversity, race, culture, diversity by geography, diversity through age even, what else? Through expertise. Some of you are in the legal space, policy making, activism, climate change, journalism. It is so diverse, and I think that is meaningful. You've really done well in this particular pillar. Transformative, because we're working towards something. I think that's amazing that many of you have said that. And then what else? Commitment, because it does require commitment. I think inclusion and diversity are related to one another. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing on my screen, the words that you are using. Here's an interesting word that someone has posted here, unbecoming. Unbecoming is very interesting because it can have negative connotations, but in this context, it means that whatever it is that we have become as society that has entrenched these very toxic gender norms, the oppression of women and girls, there is potential to unbecome. So I really love your play on words in that regard. So thank you very much for sharing that one. Okay, so let me go to my next question. Stay with me for just a second. Okay, we've done the one word you would use to describe. So the next one that I have for you, future directions, because that's important, right? Future directions, aspirations. What should we take forward? What do you commit to taking forward? Again, we share the answers on the screen. I'll read that again. Future directions and aspirations. What should we take forward? What do you commit to taking forward? I look forward to your answers. Go for it. Feminist system change. Your answers are coming through. Learn and apply intersectionality. Creating a gender-just world. How's this? It's a challenge for you guys. Regular check-ins, because the work continues. You can't wait for the next symposium. Collaborate with each other through these partnerships. Commitment, altering social norms and stereotypes. Incidencia politica, inner work for social change. Intersectionality, use learning from global to local transformation process. Wow, how's this for a big goal? To encourage my peers, colleagues, to take a step in engaging in the fight against gender equality. This is, I could sing hallelujah, because this is what we always bemoan in our society. The fact that the peer accountability, holding our peers accountable, it's all very well for us to be present in these spaces, but if we are not motivating, challenging, even questioning our own peers and their learnings, if we are not helping them to unbecome, as one participant said earlier, then we're not doing a good job. How is this from ADRO? Inclusiveness of boys and men in the ending teenage pregnancy and child marriage. Thank you so much, ADRO Sabiri, for that one as well. Implementation of transformations. And I think that plural on transformations is very, very important. Strategy implementation. Again, a huge challenge for us all, because a symposium can become a talk shop, right? That's a term we use in broadcasting, where we're just talking. We're identifying the problem because it's the easiest thing to do. We're suggesting solutions because we are quite conversant and educated in that space of policy making. But the actual work is the implementation. And so a reminder, a sobering reminder that that ought to happen. Okay, compassion, compassion, compassion. Such an important ingredient of leadership and activism. Open up, human connections coming in again in our work, partnerships. Okay, so I think so many participants are seeing this the same, transforming men's engagement in fatherhood work, because that's another beast, right? Elephant in the room. We've got staggering statistics here in South Africa about the incidence or the extent of absent fathers in our society, particularly in Black communities. And I don't know now, but I know when I was still on the radio about 3 years ago, the Human Sciences Research Council in South Africa had said 2/3 of Black South African children are growing up without their fathers. Many reasons: migrant labor, but also violence, youth, even unemployment, poverty, or toxic masculinity, which results in a lack of engagement with family as well. Reaching out beyond our own community. I love it. Feminism, solidarity. So many of you have done this here today. Here's something that I would not ignore. Intergenerational dialogue. Intergenerational dialogue. Because through dialogue, we don't just get wisdom, we share our experience of the world as different generations, but we also are forced to reckon with generational trauma, which is such a real part of our societies here in the global South and in the global North. To disrupt the oppressive status quo. Okay, engagement, resilience, keeping in touch with the global developments and co-learning. Understanding feminism. Thank you for that, whoever wrote that, because sometimes people criticize feminism. I've been in a lot of events where men would say, you know, there's no place for feminism in South Africa. I hate feminists. I don't like feminism. I said, what do you understand by feminism? Even at the most pedestrian level, their definitions of what it is totally wrong. So how are they going to embrace it? How are they going to be activists? How are they going to be allies? How are they going to see the malaise that is caused by patriarchy and oppressive masculine systems if they don't even understand what it is we are talking about? It's a challenge and a call for us who work in this space to also be educators, not to grow impatient, but to be educators as well. Be the change I want to make, says one person, and collaboration to retain the energy, passion, commitment to ensure gender justice and men and boys, men and boys engagement. Again, thank you for that, because we stumble along the way. New challenges emerge. Who knew that COVID would be the biggest challenge to 2020, 2021 and beyond? We were not prepared for that. So it's easy for that to really affect our progress and kind of sap the energy from our work. So at this time, when there's vaccine inequality, where there is anxiety, when there has been so much profound loss through COVID-19 and other diseases that continue to wreak havoc and decimate our societies, it is important to remind ourselves that we need to recharge our batteries and retain the energy and passion. Okay, I think that I've said enough on this question. I'm really moved by your own contributions, your own enthusiastic engagement with the questions that we asked earlier. And I think that in the final communique, you may find, or you will find, some of your thoughts reflected as well. Takeaways, lessons learned, and highlights. So because I've been talking so much for such a very, very long time, I want to invite those of you participants who want to share your takeaways, your leanings, your reflections. But for now, we are inviting you to think through what you want to contribute. You can raise your hand in the chat room. Is it a chat box? You know what I'm talking about. You raise your hand. We have our colleagues in the room who will identify you and call you out, and you can ask your question. I need to be very firm here. You can't make a speech. I know we are moved, we are inspired, we've got new insights. You can't make a speech. You can just give us a comment and your question, or just your comment. I think a comment, because we're taking away your reflections and the lessons learned. So your suggestions and your comment, 1 minute, not more than that. 1 minute, and let's see if we can, have a discussion and communicate around that. But I'm going to ask the following people who have let us know previously that they have some feedback, some comment, so pre-identified really, who attended a number of online sessions, and we want to hear their views. So you can start unmuting yourselves if I call your name. Again, my friends, I'm going to be very strict. You've got 2 minutes maximum. 2 minutes maximum for your thought and your suggestion, okay? We're gonna start with Ashley Burnett. And as Ashley gets ready to speak, as she unmutes herself, Gustavo Flores, you get ready too. Gustavo, you will be followed by Nicholas Danforth. Nicholas, if you can start preparing for the session. And then Nicholas, you will be followed by Stella Sabiti. And then we'll come to everyone else. In that order, Ashley, Gustavo, Nicholas, Stella, not more than 2 minutes each. Unmute yourself, starting with you. Ashley, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to share. The symposium has really been a space for learning and meaningful conversation and exposure to best practices and ways to really improve our territories. I have been truly blown away by the consistent quality of this symposium, the thought, the consideration put into each event to ensure that it had maximum impact. And, it really embraced what Ubuntu meant and really showed us ways that, even though we're oceans apart, we're in this together and, can help each other to develop and grow each other from research, insights, and recommendations we are showed with. So thank you for the reports, the guidance, and motivation to continue to do this work with the hopes to hopefully reduce and remove structural and societal inequalities in the world. So thank you, and this has really been an amazing experience.
Oh, thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you. Very, very generous of you. Okay, Gustavo, you've got the floor.
Sí, buen día. Yo desde Bolivia les saludo. Para mí ha sido un honor y un placer poder participar del Ubuntu, del Simposio Ubuntu. Es importante para nuestro país, Bolivia, porque de alguna forma estamos viviendo una situación de profunda desigualdad en mi país y nos permite tener una mirada global, que no es un problema solo de nosotros, sino es de todos, y que juntos podemos ir viviendo, buscando la recuperación, la restitución de los derechos desde una perspectiva descolonizadora e internacional, que es muy importante, especialmente también desde las rendición de cuentas. Creo que es una linda oportunidad, desde mi país podamos tener estas miradas. Y bueno, pues agradecido, y como dice Ubuntu, no yo soy si tú eres, ¿no? Y creo que eso es bien importante. Dentro de las culturas de mi país, tiene una palabra que es la reciprocidad, ¿no? Que es algo que, bueno, pues espero que compartamos todos juntos y podamos construir un mundo mejor para todos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gustavo. Really appreciated your perspective from Bolivia. I was absolutely moved because I can identify with that message that we are not alone, because as we face certain inequalities, I live in a country that, I mean, all of you would know, South Africa was once known as the rape capital of the world. I don't know if that's still a fact. It doesn't matter. We're not doing a hierarchy of pain. All we know is that violence against women, rape in South Africa, violence against children, rape against children, it is absolutely deplorable. And now recently, again, we're seeing a cycle of the murder and attacks on the LGBTQI community. So indeed, indeed, it is good to know that we are not alone and to hear other people's perspective. And you used again the word inequality. We're also known as one of the most unequal societies in the world, and there's even debate that we are the most unequal. I don't know. All I know is that the situation is so dire, and to have comrades in a room on a journey of solidarity and learnings, I can identify with that. Thank you, Gustavo. Nicholas Danforth, you have the floor for no more than 2 minutes.
Thank you, Reddy. I think you took special interest in intergenerational understanding. Maybe you were thinking of me. And also you mentioned South Africa, because the Ubuntu Symposium has been a very personal experience for me. First, because I learned the term Ubuntu in South Africa in the 60s, working against sexism and apartheid. I was beaten up by white men and kicked out of South Africa. So the word Ubuntu, about black and white, young and old, women and men working together, is so personal to me. And also the term MenEngage, or engaging men, is special because I worked in the 70s to engage 9 rather old men on the United States Supreme Court to support the right of women to decide whether to have sex, whether to contracept, or whether to have the right to end a pregnancy. So in all these cases, we did win this case called Roe v. Wade, but it shows that the engagement of men everywhere at many levels is very important, and it's now as important as it ever was, even after 50 years after that court decision. And after watching this symposium, I felt a lot of hope and excitement seeing all of us together, because, and I think men as well as women should have reproductive rights. To quote the Supreme Court, if privacy means anything, it means the right of any person, single or married, male or female, to decide whether to beget or bear a child. So men too have the right to reproductive decisions. If he does not want to be a father, he has the right to use contraception, condoms or vasectomy, or he has the right to abstain from having sex. So I found the whole experience of Ubuntu especially moving, because years ago I never expected, I was often working alone, sometimes unwelcome in women's meetings, sometimes with a few other courageous men like Gary Barker. And I never thought we would one day share this extraordinary global conversation, which shows us the hope that all of you participants have had in your work, and you have embodied and demonstrated and articulated that hope. And sometimes I have been drying my tears. I find it so moving to hear all of you talking, especially because I'm old enough to be your grandfather in many cases. So reproductive rights are vital and life-saving, and engaging men in those rights, men who benefit as women do from reproductive rights and health, is key to women's freedom and privacy. And perhaps that's true more than in any other aspect of gender relations. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you so very much for your heart, your work, your commitment. And I really love I'm being biased, of course, I love your affiliation to South Africa and being involved in our ongoing struggles. Thanks indeed. And Stella Saviti, we'd love to get your reflections for 2 minutes, or no more than 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Reddy. And I think I'll be brief. I'll take a shorter time because I think we are running behind time. Thank you so much, MenEngage, for bringing us all together. And I just can't forget the fact that when I was battling in my hospital bed, battling COVID, I never failed to tune in and be part of the discussion. So thank you for being there. And I've also gained so much in that I've taken a course in masculinity and militarism since then. And I've also just conducted a training in inner work, especially inspired from that session with Kamla and her team. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Asante sana. Obrigada.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And really happy that you pulled through with this COVID battle that continues to just overwhelm and cause unspeakable harm and anxiety. We are really glad that you made it, Stella. Thanks indeed. Okay, so I did say that we handing over to you, those of you who've raised their hands. I reiterate again, you have 1 minute to share, and I will sadly have to be the bad cop and come in should you not be able to adhere to that, as we will be running behind schedule. We want to really get to the pinnacle of our closing ceremony today, which is about the launch of the Ubuntu Declaration and a call to action, and I'll tell you more about it in just a few minutes. But right now, we'd like to see your hand, and we have provision for you to make your comment.
Sorry, thank you, Reddy. So we start with MenEngage Alliance Pakistan. As Reddy says, 1 minute, and we will have to stop you because we are running over time, but there's only 4 of you. So we'll do MenEngage Alliance Pakistan, then Alejandro, then Tumishan, and then John. So we'll start with you.
Thank you very much, Bianca. Greetings from MenEngage Alliance Pakistan. First of all, I pay my congratulations to the all organizers globally and Ubuntu. Indeed, it is very informative sessions, and we learn more in the 8 sessions and meet globally the Global Alliance family, and it's really a great things for us to meet new people from the global, and indeed the sessions are very informative for us, and also it's a great opportunity provide to the alliance members. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. So Alejandro.
Sí, mira, buenos días. Mi pregunta sería desde lo político también. ¿Qué está pasando? Se le está dando seguimiento a los grupos de hombres que desde su revisión en lo que están haciendo desde su proceso personal, compartir con otros hombres ya de manera organizada, sin provenir de la academia. Esa sería como mi pregunta. ¿Qué se está haciendo? ¿Se les da seguimiento a estos hombres o no?
Okay, so Alejandro has a question. Are we monitoring the work that they are doing? I think what can happen now, I would suggest that we carry on with the comments and so on. The organizers are going to come forward when we speak about the call to action, and that will be an opportunity for one or more of them to answer your very pertinent question. Are we monitoring the work or the contribution of the men? Is that okay, Alejandro, for us to address it at the time that we bring the various speakers and organizers towards the end?
Sí, me parece bien.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. We did say we want comments and questions, so this is good. This is good. We'll do that towards the end. Okay.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pity that I'm recently joining. My name is Tumishan. I'm from South Africa, Cape Town, and I love the program. It's just a comment on saying that we need just active youth amongst the entire program from all nations, and I'm availing myself in South Africa to say that whatever coordination you need, whatever team you need, whatever ideas you need, I am part and parcel of that. There's a program I'm coordinating for men's program, which is mainly based at CPUT, where I currently work. So those are one of the ideas which we can assist one another in developing and having a clear way forward for that. So I'll just end there. But thank you so much. I salute all coordinators and everyone involved in the Ubuntu Symposium. Thank you.
Thank you. And then John, you can come and then that will be the last one.
Buenos días desde Medellín, Colombia. Para mí, en representación de la Mesa Nacional de Masculinidades, de todo el Grupo de Colombia, quiero decirles de que a mí me queda, Ubuntu me enseñó de que no hay barreras para lograrlo. Habernos reunido gente de tantas partes del mundo, 159 países, me deja la enseñanza que en Colombia podemos salir adelante, que no hay barreras de distancia, nuestro país es grande y ya entendí que podemos lograr comunicarnos. Y también Ubuntu me deja que si yo cambio, tú cambias. Gracias, namaste, un grato saludo desde Medellín, Colombia. Chao.
Thank you so much for your participation, for your comments, and for your input. And we have not forgotten the question from Alejandro, and we will address that towards the end as we build up to the launch of the declaration. I think right now we also want our colleagues in Rwanda to just share their own learnings and their own insights. So Taina, I'm going to pass the floor to you to give us that very, very crucial voice of our hosts and our partner, Rwanda.
Thank you very much, Reddy. In Rwanda, it's been a privilege to be a part of this symposium. It's been amazing for me personally, if I'm to kick off this session here, to say that it was amazing for a young person to be involved as much as I was, to be given the platform to share our views, to learn, but not just as beneficiaries, but people who are actively involved every step of the way. So on behalf of young people, it's been a tremendous opportunity to learn from you all, from the people here in Rwanda, but also from the global community. And I would like to give it to anyone else who would like to share their experience. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Welcome from Rwanda Men Resource Center. This journey has been very helpful. For in this diversity, we learn a lot of things. There are some of the questions we used to ask ourselves, like, why do we do the thing we don't want to do and not doing the thing we want to do? So in different topics shared within Ubuntu Symposium, we have got answers to some of the questions that have remained longer, like challenging our lives. Yeah, in the area for drugs and substance abuses, we have in our network people who are addicted to alcohol, marijuana, heroin, cocaine. But those sessions have been a healing part where we got healed in inner parts of our lives. So we are thankful to Ubuntu Symposium organizers, but also we are thankful to the government of Rwanda, especially Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion, for taking responsibility for this event, but also Rwanda Men Network organizations. We thank you very much.
Thank you. He did use the 1 minute that Reddy has given to everyone. We can get, I think, 2 more people to share what their experience has been like during the symposium.
Thank you. This is Ephraim from Women for Women Rwanda. I have been part of this symposium since it started, and I have just attended some sessions and I missed some also. But just to name this symposium, I can name it like transformative, because we have learned from different corners of the world, from south to north, from east to west, and we learned different experiences from those corners of the world, and Ubuntu is really transformative. And as for future directions and aspirations, we would like to engage mostly youth. Would like youth to be most engaged in this process, in the whole process of gender justice, and especially this to challenge the traditional social norms. In addition, I would like that the youth can be considered as actors of this process, not as beneficiaries. We would like them to be considered as actors, not as beneficiaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One person who represents the ladies as well.
Thank you. First, I'd like to extend my gratitude to the organizers of this event. And I think for me, my takeaway from the event as a whole is that we all play a very important role in the transforming of the society that we live in and promoting gender equality. And like the ambassador of students said, it's an interdependence in all divisions. We're all a mosaic of each other. So I think my biggest takeaway from this is that it takes more than one person. It takes more than one organization for the gender equality to be promoted and to be achieved. And as we've seen now is that we all keep in touch, we all keep working towards this goal. And if we all put our energies together and we all put our minds and our will together, this will be achieved on a global level. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, everyone. My name is Olivia Kabatesa, and I'm the Country Director for Empower Rwanda. I want also to extend my gratitude to the organizers of this symposium that has left us transformed. The takeaways that I would say is that we surely need to engage men and boys to be able to end gender-based violence. It's one thing that I've realized, that we so much concentrate on helping girls, helping women, but if we don't engage men and boys who are actually perpetrators, we are not going to end this. So the most important thing that I've learned is that we engage them from the word go. And the last thing that we have to work in inclusiveness. Everyone has a role to play in order to achieve gender equality. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We are very thankful for this symposium. It was a really time for learning, for connecting, for exchanging, know who is doing this, how is it doing that, where our weakness is, where our strength is. So it was a really good time all over 7 months. So I was privileged to be part of it since the beginning. So I'm really grateful for this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been 7 wonderful months, so many memories we are carrying with us, so many resolutions, so many challenges we have noticed and anticipate and are trying to tackle. I think this is a journey. This is really a journey. It doesn't end today. It's just a continuation. So we still have one more input, and then I'll give it back to you, Reddy.
Thank you very much. I just want to say 3 things that we learned from the symposium. One thing that I learned or wish that can be done is that we should strengthen the partnership and collaboration of Rwanda MenEngage Network with the faith-based organization and their leaders so that we could achieve gender equality, because they are the ones that have structures at a local levels that can help us to transform the community in a process that I may say that it should be quick and easy to learn. And another thing that I should say is that we should continue to educate, to sensitize, to mobilize the community, leaving none behind, as Olivia said, including men and boys, involving young people, girls, everyone in the community on the education of gender equality. They should have a tangible knowledge. There should be shared experiences. There should be shared expertise about this gender program. Another thing is that we as the network, we commit to work hand in hand with the Rwandan government because we have the political assistance and the will. We have an enabling environment that enables us to go in the community and ease in the work, so that we will have a just society which is free from violence and discrimination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I still see hands up of people who would wish to contribute to this particular session, but I also know that time isn't on our side. Reddy, would you accept one more comment?
Because it's you, I'll just accept it. That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bruce, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the symposium organizing team, I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this excellent contribution to humanity. And I just want to leave us all with the powerful words that it all stems from within. Whatever we put out to the world begins through us recognizing the little sentences that we say that disenfranchise people and identities, the little looks that we give to someone who's weird or speaks differently, and all the ways that we engage to re-emphasize systems of oppression. Therefore, I encourage us to be self-aware, to be accountable to our own words, and to lead forward indeed with our minds and our hearts with peace. Thank you very much, Taina.
Thank you. Thank you. Reddy, I'll give it back to you, and thank you for your kindness.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Taina. Thank you, Rwanda, the participants in Rwanda. Really, really insightful contributions. And I really, really was challenged to reflect on working with partners. I was saying to somebody in a space similar to this, where we were talking about empowering girls and boys and teaching different ways of seeing each other, that it's usually the same people in the room. We speak to each other, we speak amongst ourselves. Well, that is very, very important. We ought to get out of our comfort zones and change society and challenge our communities. And where do we start? I really like the suggestion of working with churches, because these are institutions that could be themselves the stage for patriarchy, but could be the stage for transformation and change. And there are allies there, there are activists there, there are people who are trusted by communities. And this is not us working against, we are working together, we are working with, we are empowering each other. So thank you very much for that suggestion. I think it's relevant for so many other societies, including the one that I call home.